Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for folks living in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, financial literacy, it's the arts, the homeless, Alzheimer's. Seems if there's a big cause, they are there shoulder to shoulder. Honored to have a former colleague of mine, and that's Phyllis Schwartz. She was the market president for NBC when I was skulking around running community and public relations for the Union Tribune. We did a lot of partnerships with NBC, just obviously an iconic local news station. And now she is an author. How you doing, Phyllis?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's been a while. I'm trying to think the last time I saw you.
It's been a long time. I mean, I've seen your name around, and right. I bump into colleagues of ours.
Right.
Yeah, but it's been a long time since I've seen you in person.
I know, right? Unfortunately, this is what you got to deal with. And,
that's okay.
Exactly. Honored to have as my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. And Kristen, you want to just get right into it with Phyllis?
Yeah, let's get into it. I think probably the natural place to start is, how did you get into poetry and writing children's books?
I started writing poetry and little stories, etc. when I was a kid. My parents were big readers, and they read to us a lot, and then I turned that into being a big reader and writer, and I followed my dream of getting into news writing, commercial news writing, and while I was writing murders and fires and political stories by day, as a release, I would go home and write poetry, fun, nice stuff, relief and escape kinds of things. And through my whole career in news and then running the NBC station here in town, I continued to write poetry. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I started writing some things. I love rhyming. When I was a kid, I loved Madeline and Two Straight Lines and Dr. Seuss, etc. So I saw that some of my poems, they felt like kids' books, kid poetry that would appeal to kids in rhyming children's picture books. So I just wrote my 4th book, but a few years ago, my first book was based on my experiences. I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, and I wrote a book, When Moms Feel Great, Then We Do Too. And it was a riff on my experience. My books all have some little autobiographical nuggets in them. And that was based on a poem and then something else. I wrote another book, anti-war, anti-bullying. One of my daughters had an experience in elementary school with a playground bully. And that was my next book, Mom Wombat Says Make War No More. And so these things kind of came out of me, these poems, and then they turned into picture books. And I fell into a great relationship with a woman who's an illustrator. She's done all my books. And one thing led to another. I continued to write poetry for big kids and also write these poems that turn into rhyming children's books.
So I'm going to go back a little bit. When you started doing the news writing, was it for print or was it for broadcast?
Always for broadcast.
Okay. So where'd you go to school?
Went to San Diego State.
Yes.
I got my BA in radio, TV, journalism.
You did it with, and I got mine on the news side. And so I had, Dr. Spivak and Jim Buckaloo.
Buckaloo, of course.
Of course, Law of Mass Comm. You and I were probably in the same classes. I wrote for the Daily Aztec, though.
Yes,
at the time.
I did not. Yes, yeah. Now I remember. Well, you went in. You're a print guy, right?
I am.
Basically.
Yes.
I am going to betray my age here, but when I was a kid, my parents were both teachers, political science and history locally, and we would watch Walter Cronkite
Of course.
and eat dinner, which is not, I wouldn't recommend it, but we'd always eat dinner while we were watching, and the Vietnam War and the peace movement would go by in front of us, and I decided when I was about 14 or 15, because I liked writing, I said, that's what I want to do. I want to write and match it to pictures, because I found that really powerful. And that's when I made the decision. I've done radio,
Right.
broadcasting,
Right.
and in the olden days, when you went to San Diego State, you used to be able to write news for KPBS radio.
That's right.
I don't think they do a lot of that now. And so that's what I got to do. I got to write news and match pictures and words. Had a career here for a few years. Ultimately, I produced newscasts, and then I went to Chicago, which I think is one of the best local news towns in the world. And I went there and worked at a variety of television stations and worked my way up until I started running newsrooms. And then NBC was nice enough to say, we have an opening in San Diego, my hometown.
Right.
And so they transferred me out here, and I started running the station.
Did you follow Neil?
Yes.
So Neil Darrow, who we're talking about, and just one of the amazing president GMs. Is Neil still around?
I think he has passed.
I think he has too. And you talk about a guy who was engaged in the community, and Neil and I we got to do a lot of stuff together in that aspect of it. Then I got to meet Phyllis, and I worked very closely with her staff, and still, Dick and I still get together, Dick Kelly and all that business.
Yeah, Dick Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. Did some of the stuff, help you? Now, you've always been a writer, in the poetry and all that business. It didn't just start because you decided to get out of the news business. But how has running a station, being a writer, helped you with your books yourself, or they're totally different?
No, it does flow. It does help. When I knew you and I ran the station,
Right.
we did a lot of community work. NBC does a lot of community work. And I loved that part of running the station, and I loved that part of writing news, because when you're writing news, you're trying to give people information about their communities, large or small, helping them figure their communities out, maybe how to vote, where to send your kids to school. So going from the newsroom community piece to then running the station community piece, where we would do a lot of outreach and a lot of stuff with the UT.
That's right.
It all kind of went together. And one of the things now that I love about the book writing, in particular, I think because it's children's books, it's given me a chance to go back into the community. Because of my first book, riffing off of my cancer, I got back involved with the American Cancer Society, which we had been very involved with as a station. I was a big Girl Scout as a kid, and I reconnected with the Girl Scouts. I'm going next week to read my book to a bunch of campers down at UPIS. I've gotten involved. I never was before with the Ronald McDonald House. Someone invited me down there to read my last book, and I went down and read it, and I just fell in love with the place, and I actually helped them launch a program where every other month we have a local author that I drag down there, read their books, because a lot of the children might be in and out of the doctor's offices in the hospital, but their siblings are all here with their parents.
Yeah.
That's why they're at Ronald McDonald House. And they're looking for things to do.
Yeah.
They do have some tutoring there, et cetera. So we launched a year ago a program. I get to read my books every once in a while, but I've had other local authors come down and read the books, and the kids do some crafts while we're reading and all of that. So through my books, I've been able to go back and enjoy the kind of community work I did when I was involved with station outreach.
Right. Did you work with Chuck Day? So Chuck's the CEO of Ronald McDonald House.
Yes, he is now. He used to be with Rady's.
He did. He was across the street. Well, Chuck and I have been friends for a million years.
Yeah.
And and it's great that you're doing that outreach. We're chatting with Phyllis Schwartz. What's the latest book? What's it called?
The latest book is called Laggie and Grillo, The Sea Glass Mystery.
Okay, we're going to get into what that's all about as well. And, of course, former market president for NBC. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Kristen, this is in your wheelhouse. You used to be eating every second of this up about the writing and the poetry and all
Oh,
this.
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So what questions do you have for Phyllis?
Well, are we ready to get into Laggie and Grillo?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So tell us a bit about the book, and we'll go from there.
I live in Encinitas, and I live right near Swami's Beach. I love Encinitas, and I love the beach. And even before, I've always lived near a beach. Now Southern California, but Chicago, as you might know, has a beach right there in downtown Lake Michigan.
They do.
And there's sea glass there, and there's sea glass here. And I've always had an affinity for just walking along the beach and picking up seashells and looking in the tide pools and sea glass. And it just occurred to me to write kind of a love letter about my town of Encinitas and Swami's Beach and my love of sea glass, because when you write, you get to do, except if you're working in a newsroom, someone assigns you, but when you write your own stuff, you get to write what you want and what you love, and you infuse it with, my personality. I'm going to talk about myself, my personality, my loves. I throw in some values that I hold dear: teamwork, curiosity, etc. And this book is about a team getting together to solve this mystery. A little girl named Yoshi, named after my daughter, and a mom, kind of based on me. They go down to Swami's all the time and look for seashells and sea glass, and in a pile of stuff, they take it home to wash it, and they find something that looks like a jewel. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing because it's a mystery. And the book takes you through how Yoshi and her mom, and also the critters Laggie and Grillo, solve this issue. Is it a gem? Is it just a piece of sea glass? And how did it get there? This is pretty cool. And in the process, they do research about Encinitas. They find out some information about explorers, pirates, jewel thieves, all of that. And so that's what it's about.
When we come back from break, we're going to continue the conversation with author Phyllis Schwartz, talk about how many other books are in her head that we're going to see over here, aspect of it. And then we always save some time, Phyllis, on what our listeners can do to support what you're doing. Obviously buy the books, of course, or go out and see when you're doing some of your presentations, when we'll be right back after this very short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So pleased to have in the studio former colleague of mine. She was the market president of NBC and now an author, Phyllis Schwartz, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Kristen, what other questions you got for Phyllis?
Yeah, so we should talk about the San Diego Book Festival because you have something going on there. So how are you involved this year?
I'm on the KPBS Community Board. I have a long-standing love and relationship since I went to school at San Diego State. And they are one of the big sponsors now, last year and this year, of the book festival. I couldn't make it last year, but this year I can. And they have a children's area, and I'm going to be at a booth there. I've invited 2 or 3 other local author colleagues to join me. If we have a few people there, we can all take a break and go to the bathroom once in a while.
Yeah. Right.
And I will be there selling my books, signing books, talking to people. I'm going to have all my books down there. But in addition, one of the things I'm most excited about, my last book, Laggie and Grillo, An Unlikely Friendship, the Jewish Community Center's drama troupe, they've made a play out of it.
Cool.
I got together with them and said, "Do you think this is a play?" And they said, "Yeah." So they've been going all over San Diego County to schools. And
Nice.
They went to Ronald McDonald House. They did it at Girl Scouts. And they are going to be performing the play of my 3rd book at the festival. I'm not sure what time yet because the festival's an all-day thing and it's pretty early in the summertime. But I think there's a stage near the children's area. And the play is like a 20-minute play. It's targeted towards children and families, so it's not a long, drawn-out 2-hour thing.
What day is the book festival?
Saturday, August 22nd.
Isn't it USD?
Yes, on USD campus.
Yeah. So, there used to be the Union Tribune,
Yes, I know.
Yeah, and actually we started thinking about this many, many years ago, now dating myself, in the mid-'90s because we wanted to pattern after the LA Times Book Festival, of course, and eventually we wound up doing that. Have you ever been at our book festival and presenting and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was at Liberty Station, which I loved because Writers Inc. was at Liberty Station.
That was a great.
And then,
yes, it was.
we participate every year. I'm facilitating a panel this year on Masterpiece,
Nice.
KPBS, and how literature is turned into film. And so I'll be.
Oh, I have to make time to go to
Yeah,
that.
please, yes.
I'm a Masterpiece nut.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'm learning so much through this process. And I have a 7-year-old, so I'll see if I can put him in front of the stage. And that's wonderful.
Right. So I take it they can get your books on Amazon or so?
Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble, okay.
Yeah, and there's a sweet little shop in Encinitas. I wanted a brick and mortar place, Bliss 101, right on 101, and she has my books in there because a lot of people, they like to go in and touch and feel them.
100%.
Yeah, so.
The tactile aspect of learning is still with us.
Absolutely.
And will be for a while. So you've done 4 books, is that right?
Yes, this is my 4th.
Right, and it was number 5 on the, I won't say typewriter because people are going, what the heck is a typewriter?
Well,
it's
in my computer.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Yes, I do have a 5th book. I actually kind of sat down and wrote them I got real inspired within a short amount of time. And this one, I bumped it around a few times. It was going to be my 3rd, my 4th. It is not a Laggie and Grillo book. My dad was a Fulbright scholar, and when I was 10, we lived in India for a year, and in a very small village, and it was quite an experience. My dad brought my mom and I and my sister kicking and screaming. We grew up in L.A., and when we got there, it was kind of a crazy, rough situation because we missed all our friends and our family, and
of course.
There were dogs snapping at our heels on certain days, garbage days. But afterwards, I realized it was such a great learning experience, and I have written a book about that.
Fun.
Okay, and do we have any idea when that will be out and published?
I don't know, maybe next year.
Okay, maybe next year.
I'm not sure, but not right away. Probably about this time next year.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Do all of the ideas come from your background? You're growing up, you mentioned a lot of it is autobiographical. Do people, because 1 million people know you, do they go, God, you ever thought about doing a book like this, Phyllis? Do you get ideas?
Yes, a lot of people do that.
I bet they do.
I'm very nice about it when I talk to people, but right now, these are the books that were and are in my head.
Right.
And they all have like a piece of me.
Right, of course.
The one book I didn't mention, the Laggie and Grillo book that the play is about, it's called An Unlikely Friendship. It's about a cricket and a lizard, and lizards eat crickets. But in this case, they are asked to get along. And I'm of Jewish background. My husband is of Japanese background, and so our kids are combo kids.
Right, sure.
And the book is about different cultures getting along. And that book has some words in Yiddish, Japanese, and Spanish because of our being close to the border. And so that's what the unlikely friendship is about.
Right. So you folks have children?
We have 2 girls, yes. Yoshi's one of them. She's going to be 34, and
Right.
my other daughter is going to be 30 in the fall.
What do they think about their author mom?
They're blasé is kind of sounds like a pejorative word, but they're like, oh yeah, Mom, we knew you'd do something like, they know about my poetry. They get excited. I'm very careful. Like with Yoshi, I asked her, can I use your name? I wanted to use her name, and she was fine with it. My other daughter, I'll tell you her name is Lily, but she was not that, she said, nah, don't use my name. But she knows that there's elements of our family life that I use. I'm very careful. They don't like me posting about them on social media. People are sensitive about it. So even though I am a big mouth, obnoxious former news person, that's about me, not about all news people, I'm very careful to keep things appropriate with my family so that they don't desert me.
Well, it's funny because I think I mentioned to someone that I was going to have you on, and didn't you used to work with Phyllis? I said, yeah. I said she was spirited when I worked with Phyllis, in a very positive way. I think wasn't Greg
Dawson? He's still there.
I know he is.
Yeah.
And then I worked with some just unbelievable, great folks. Steve Weber was there.
I love Steve. I'm still in touch. I'm still in touch with a lot of people on air, and even now, Monica Dean and Catherine Garcia and Stephen Luke. I still watch the news, and I type them. Sorry.
That's okay.
A little noise there. And I'll type them and say, that was a great story.
Nice.
Or I'll say, that was a great tie. Whatever.
Right.
Or I like your new glasses. But I'm still in touch with, there's still several people that are still there.
Yeah.
And you know who as soon as I get home, I'm going to send a notice, Isabel Valdez, who was my community person. And she lives up in Riverside County now. But I'm still in touch, going to lunch, coffee.
Good.
They all come to my book signings, etc. So
yeah, no, it was great, Kristen. We were very fortunate that at least in the role I had, is that we were going to work with ABC and NBC and CBS. I mean, heaven forbid we're all in this together, right? And 1 + 1 can equal 3.
Yes, you were like Switzerland.
Yeah. Well, listen. The whole thing is, are we providing great stuff for our readers or our listeners or our viewers, and didn't make a difference where it came from in all this business. And San Diego can lend itself to that aspect of it. Again, we're chatting with author Phyllis Schwartz of Laggie and Grillo, The Sea Glass Mystery. And you will have to get the book so you can figure out what the mystery is all about. Kristen, any final questions you have for Phyllis?
Anything else that we need to know about anything upcoming or how we can support your work?
Go to the book festival, right?
Go to the book festival, and I do. I have a website, phyllisfeelsgreat.com, and I post a lot of my poetry. I post pictures of, probably with you guys today, I'll post a picture. I'm on social media, and I do interact with people in a lot of different ways, and that's fun because the part I missed about leaving the news business, you don't have that automatic day in, day out connection and interaction.
Yeah.
And not everybody loves that busy pace and people coming at you all the time, back and forth, two-way communication, but I do, and it's been wonderful using these books as a way of getting back into the community. It's fun, and I feel like it's helpful because when I was in news, I didn't reflect my personal opinions, and now writing these books, I can say, hey, it's nice to be good to your neighbor. It's not nice to bully, etc. So I find it's a way for me to express myself way beyond what I could have in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there a website where people can...
www.phyllisfeelsgreat.com.
Phyllis, it's good seeing you. Loved the interview. We'll look forward to when book 5 comes out. Maybe we can break the news here.
Let's do it.
That's an idea.
We'd love
Thank
to
you. I'll remember that.
Yeah, please do that. And good luck. I'm going to try to make the book festival. I used to go all the time.
That's great. Do it. Yeah.
I'll try to do that. August 12th, you said? Is that?
August 22nd.
22nd, okay.
I would love to see anybody that knows me. I know I'll get to meet a lot of neat people there.
Yeah, it is. Well, just wishing you nothing but great success moving forward. It's good
Thank
to reconnect
you.
with a longtime colleague. And Kristen, as always, it's just so wonderful when you're co-piloting these shows with me.
It's so fun. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. In our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks of the Mission Fed Credit Union. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.